Brendan Line, Product Specialist, Exeter Supply Company. It's a chilly little day here in eastern Pennsylvania during the COVID-19 days, quarantine mode. Hopefully everybody had a chance to see our video on ZoneScan 820, our correlating loggers. Fantastic loggers. Gruderman calls it their workhorse logger. Again, these loggers are deployed out in the field, usually during the day, and turning on at night and recording their data. Okay, again, nighttime is the best time for leak detection. It's quiet, pressure is the highest in the system, so we get better quality correlations at nighttime. And speaking of correlations, and don't forget, that's the big advantage. There's noise loggers, then there's correlating noise loggers. So a correlating noise logger will pinpoint leaks. So that's a big advantage to a noise logger who will just give you sound on a particular area. So what we are doing with the correlating noise loggers from Gruderman is we are uploading the data to zonescan.net. Zonescan.net is a website anybody can get to with internet on any computer with a username and password, and there you can see data from the areas that you had deployed out in the field. You can see your correlations, you can see your leak spots, you can view historical data on logger noise, many different features that you can use on zonescan.net. It's all Google Maps, so you have the same abilities of satellite view if it's in your area, street view, all that great stuff that Google Maps has to offer. And then if you do have a leak, ZoneScan.net has an option to print out reports to actually document your leaks. So it's a great tool to use to show your colleagues and friends some of the findings you found on an annual basis. So again, please see our next video. Thank you very much.
Hey there everyone, Brendan Line, Product Specialist, Exeter Supply Company. This video tutorial today is going to be on ZoneScan.net. ZoneScan.net, if you watch the video on the 820 correlating loggers, is going to be the follow-up from that video. And again, basically ZoneScan.net is just a cloud server that you're going to look at to see where your leaks are pinpointed at, check your data that was uploaded from the loggers. Okay, so basically after you collected your loggers, again, you're going to go ahead and upload the data to this highly secured cloud server, ZoneScan.net. So just taking a look here at this example, again, when you sign in, you're going to have a username and password that is specific to your utility. And once you log in, you're going to immediately see the data that you sent through. And this is kind of what you're going to see. This is the website. I'll kind of go over what I call the dashboard of what we're seeing here. So basically, just to kind of start at the top, I'm going to try to move my cursor around and hopefully you can see that. But starting at the top left, there's going to be a couple tabs, leak detection, which is basically the mode that you're going to be looking at the majority of your time. And then there's an administration tab as well, which you can kind of get into real depth, kind of standard default settings, and you can manage your area names and so forth. And then your maintenance tab, that's more so for a fixed-based system, where you can go into and see where your system needs to maybe require some maintenance. Okay, so let's start with leak detection. As you see across the top, you see your project. In this example, it's Exeter Supply, but this project name would be your project name given to you. And then your area name would be the area that you created when you deployed the loggers last. Tap in here, you will see a drop-down menu of different areas that you sent through, and they will be saved on here as you go. So you want to go in and select your area that you want to view your data from. And then basically you're going to see your measurement period dates, which is the day the loggers recorded their data and the day of the data that you're seeing on your screen currently. And again, this is just to kind of explain what you're looking at here, the mapping system. This is all Google Maps. Also, it has all the bells and whistles that Google Maps has your map view, your satellite view, has your street view. So everything Google Maps would have, this is exactly the same thing. So when you had deployed your loggers out in the field and GPS plotted them, Google Maps will show those locations. As you see these little circles on the map, those would be loggers that were deployed, some along Oxford Street, some on North 8th Street, and a few more down here on West State Street. Okay. Again, just to kind of continue on through our dashboard, what you kind of see over here to the right-hand side are 3 tabs. You see Correlations tab, you see our Logger Noise tab, and then you'll see your Events tab. Let's go ahead and start with our Logger Noise. And as we get into this Logger Noise tab, Logger Noise tab, what this is every logger recorded its data from the night before. So as that data gets uploaded, ZoneScanNet will show that logger number on the screen and its individual data. And right here, you can see there were 6 loggers out the night before. Okay, but just to kind of go through some of these things, what you see is a leak score. A leak score is given from 0 to 100, and it's also color driven based off a certain score. Okay, and that's the standard presets. I believe 0 to 40 is green, 41 to 70 is yellow, and 70 and above is up to 100 is red. So it's just kind of a color indication of the higher leak score there. And then you also see a little speaker symbol here. These are all your sounds. You can actually double click on one of these and open up an actual audio sound clip from the logger inside the valve box the night before. So you can see you can actually listen to a 30-second recording of that sound. And then, of course, the logger number. Okay, in this case, it's 504334. And then it's going to give some information, your decibel level, the spread, which I'll explain in a second, the time they were deployed out in the field. In this case, it was a daytime correlation, so it was 11:50 a.m. And then Google Maps is going to give a location, approximate location to that logger, which was 63 North 7th Street. And then there's also a comments section, which you can add comments to. In this particular one, there's a comments on this logger of blow off. So it must be sitting on a blow off at the end of a cul-de-sac, I believe here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select one of these loggers and kind of show you how it puts a little blue circle around that logger you selected. And as I click other ones, it's going to do the same thing as well. And what you can do is you can open up one of these loggers and see some data. So if I right click there, I'm going to see histogram and signal spectrum. So if I tap on one of these, it opens up another window where you can see both of those together. So histogram, if you guys remember when we're talking about the ZoneScan 820, it does a 10-second decibel recording every 10 seconds as the logger is listening out in the field. And this is the graph for that. And what you see here across the bottom is your decibel level from range from 0 to 65. And the count on the left, which is 0 up to how many times it heard a specific decibel. So as you can see over here in a 45 decibel range, in fact, 97 times it heard a decibel of 45. So this is a pretty consistent sound, which is going to give a higher leak score versus than just a choppier noise, which is a lot of random noise. In this case, pretty consistent. And then what the system gives you is what they call a spread. This is a very common term in the logger industry. The spread is basically nothing more than the difference of decibels from minimum to maximum. So the lower the spread number, which would mean the more consistent that sound is, okay? So the higher the spread, the more broader range of sound, which would bring down your leak score. The tighter spread, which would be more consistent, which is what we like with leaks, and that's going to give you a better leak score. Okay, so that's looking at your decibel range of that sound. So as we get into the signal spectrum, we look at the pitch. Okay, this is the frequency range that this particular logger picked up. You see your hertz across the bottom. And basically this is the hertz, the frequency range is what the system is going to be using to correlate. So you can kind of come in here and see your hertz range. And then your leak score history is going to kind of give you a history of the sound. So in this case, it was just 1 day of data. So this blue bar represents 1 single day's worth of data. And as you see, there's some dates across the bottom. If this logger was left out in the system for more than 1 day, you could see a historical change, like a trending change in your sound. So this could be if the loggers, if you remember, when we talked Zone Scan 820, loggers had the capability of listening for 30 consecutive days. So if you had loggers out that long, you could see a 30-day spread. Or if it was a fixed permanent network system, you can see historical time spans over 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, all the way up to full history. So you can kind of see leaks starting to gain, becoming breaks in your system, catching them very quickly. And then you can also see that drop back down again as you repair the leak, and that leak score will come back down to 0 again. That's pretty much all you're going to worry about in this area here. And then again, that's looking at each logger. If I highlight this one, I can come in here and see this one as well. Histogram, still pretty consistent, but much quieter. And then you can see the signal spectrum. Looks like this one here is picking up a 60 hertz signal. So again, this is what Zone Scan's doing. This is a great example actually to show you how electric can use that filter for electric. If I come in histogram, this looks like a fantastic sound. It's pretty consistent, which is great for leaks. And we come into our signal spectrum. Zone Scan may see this and be like, hey, even though that was a great consistent leak sound, we are seeing spikes at an electric frequency, which would be 60 hertz. Electric is 60 hertz increments, so it could be 60, 120, and so forth and so on. Here it looks like we're picking up a little bit of electric on this area there. So that's kind of looking at the 2 types of data that the loggers picked up the night before. Again, you're looking at the decibel, how loud the sound was, and we're looking at the frequency of that leak sound. Okay. Let's go ahead now and take a look at our correlations tab. Correlation is the bread and butter of the system. Again, this is the big advantage to Zone Scan 820. On top of it being a noise logger, it does have the ability to correlate, and that is a huge advantage for the customer. Really drastically reduces your time trying to find your leaks during the day. So what happens in the correlations mode, on top of the system giving you each individual logger noise, in the correlations tab, what the system does for you automatically is it compares every logger to every other logger looking for a similar leak frequency noise, okay? And if there is a similarity between any 2 sensors out in the field of a leak being between the 2, Zone Scan Net will show that over here on the right-hand side. So sometimes you'll tap on correlations and there'll be nothing in here, and therefore there's probably no leaks in that area chosen. So in this case, for example, we have many different correlations. And a lot of times what happens is you'll have multiple correlations on the same leak sound, because these sensors are so sensitive that they can pick up leaks from a pretty good range. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and take a look at what we see here on correlations. So correlations is going to give you your quality, and the quality is kind of like the leak score and logger noise, except the quality is going to be the quality of the percentage that the loggers are hearing that leak. So in this case, if I tap on this one, it says basically between logger 353 and 334. There's 100% correlation. The leak in between those two. So as maybe those sensors get spread out further, they may still hear the leak. Maybe that correlation will drop to a lower quality. Okay, so Zone Scan will give it a quality percentage, show you the two loggers in question, which you can also see on the map. If I click on here, in this case, it looks like it's logger 334 and 339, which is these two. This logger here and this logger here is hearing a leak. And that is also 100%. And if you scroll across here, you can see some information, the pipe length, distance, and that's basically just using your GPS coordinates. In addition to, as just like the noise logger comments, there's a comments for the correlation as well. The customer had put in service break, 2-inch HDPE repaired high max. All right, so now that we understand a little bit about logger noise tab and correlations tab, what we have to do, and I know many of you are thinking, well, what are all these arrows for? Zone Scan Net, when there is a similarity between two sensors of a leak sound, it's going to give you a double-headed arrow between the two, which basically means, hey, we do hear something between us, but I can't really give you a significant, I can't give you a lot of information right now, basically, is what it's trying to say. We need to know the pipe information and diameter. If you remember when I talked on Zone Scan 820, the recipe for correlation is 3 simple ingredients. It's going to be your total distance between the sensors. It's going to be the time delay from the leak to each sensor, okay? And then it needs to know the actual pipe material and diameter to be able to do that math problem, figure it out. That's the algorithm. So pipe material and diameter can play a significant role here. Because every material and diameter has a different speed of velocity as that's the leak sound traveling through material pipe. So that can change your leak location as you adjust that. So what we need to do here, guys, is basically just go ahead and draw in our pipes, okay? So we're gonna manually do that, and it's very, very easy. I'll kind of show you right here on the map, but I'll start from left to right. What you do is you right-click next to a logger, select create pipe, and you see the little blue line connecting the to the closest logger that I right click to, and then we're just going to drag the other endpoint and drop to the next sensor. We're just going to connect the dots. So as we go through here and draw these pipes, the system, you'll start to see some of these double-headed arrows change as we go. It's like this one was already drawn in. I'm going to go ahead and draw one from down here to the top. And what you'll see here is what you can do is you can draw in your pipes configuration as you wish, just by dragging and drawing your pipes. So there we go. Now the standard default on Zone Scan is going to be 4-inch ductile. That's just the standard setting. So what we need to do now is we need to update this and make it what the actual pipe is. And this is a very good demonstration here because this is actually AC pipe, okay? And we all know AC pipe isn't the greatest material to find leaks on. It's very, very tricky to find leaks on AC pipe. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the line, and now it's going to give us the option to change the material, change the diameter, and we can even update the pipe length if we need to, okay? But for now, we're going to go ahead and change this to AC. And we're going to just keep working through our piping system here and change them all to AC. And as you can see, some of these blister spots are going to change location as I'm updating this, which goes to show you that it makes a difference as far as material and diameter goes. So here's our AC pipe drawn in. And then what we actually have here, this one here, I believe is AC. This one needs to be changed as well, AC pipe. Oh, look at that. So now we're starting to get into an area, now that we have AC drawn in here, it's really starting to pinpoint a leak spot in between loggers 353 and 334. Okay, this little line here is actually 2-inch PVC that we need to update as well. So let's go ahead and change the material to PVC. Oh, that even moved it as well. And we're gonna go ahead and change this to 2-inch PVC. And now the last thing we have to do is go ahead and update our diameters in our AC pipe. And again, we're drawing these pipes in because we have leaks. We have potential leaks. If you open up your correlations tab and there's no correlations in here, you spend no time drawing in pipes or doing any type of editing your pipe materials. This is only when you have a leak that you have to draw in your pipe information. So let's go ahead and make these 6 inches. Because we had 6-inch AC and 2-inch PVC. So here we go. We can kind of see our troublesome area. These are blister spots. We call these in the zone scan net world. We call these blister spots, which is basically saying, okay, thanks for putting in that pipe information. Now I can actually tell you, we think the leak is right here. So that's what you kind of see here, some blister spots. We have blister spots right on top of each other in this general area here, which is our leak spot, okay? And now we also see some single-headed arrows as well. What a single-headed arrow is, it's an out-of-bracket arrow. Okay, so that's 2 sensors hearing a leak sound, but it's not in between the two. So if I scroll out here a little bit, I'll tap on this guy and logger 353 and 336. These 2 sensors, okay, are hearing a leak sound, but the arrow is saying it's beyond those 2. It's not in between us. And surely enough, since we had this other logger down here, we already had found that leak. So it's more of a secondary correlation saying, hey, you know what? We're pretty confident that leak is down here. And surely enough, we have a blister spot to confirm that. So now that we have that blister spot, what we can do is we can come up here to our correlations tab, and we can actually go ahead and look at reports. So I can right click on the blister spot. I can print out a correlation report. I can open that up. And guys, this is what we're going to be using to go out in the field and wheel off this location to pinpoint our leak spots. So as you see here, it prints this nice little report out for you automatically. And you'll see a map view, and you'll also see a street view if it's available of the leak spots, and which is kind of nice. You can move it around. You can see what's in the general area, and gives you a good little idea of what's going on before you head out in the field. Then below the 2 pictures here, you will see some information that you're going to need when you go out to verify that pipe or verify the leak location. So you have the quality of the leak is here, the address of the leak is here, 2 logger numbers that are in question, the distance to the leak from logger 1, the distance to the leak from logger 2, and then it's going to give the pipe length distance that you drew in on zonescan.net, which in this case was 763.6 feet. Okay, if I scroll down a little bit here, this is a correlation graph. Okay, so here this black line is logger 1, this black line here is logger 2, this black line here is just the midpoint, And if you take a look right here, there's a real high peak. That is your leak distance. Okay, that is your leak. Across the bottom here, you'll see just little blurps of blue. This is your piping system showing just random usage along the random noise and things like that along the pipe. Then all of a sudden, right here around 69, 70 feet is this tall blue peak, okay? So this is where our leak spot is. And then also gives you the frequency range of the leak sound. So you can dial in your ground mics and use that accordingly. So again, you can print this file, you can print this form out, and you can go out in the field, and now you need to just confirm that, yep, you know what? This leak is indeed on the main right at this location, or you know what, the leak isn't right here in the main, but the leak is on the service line off of this exact location. So these are things you have to think about when you're out in the field. In this case, the leak was actually right here. It was an old repair that had to be fixed. So again, this is a pretty neat demonstration because again, it was AC pipe and plastic, which we all know in the leak detection world, that's the trickier material to do leak detection on. And we're picking that leak up pretty far, almost 800 feet. And if you remember when I did my other video on 820, leak detection, finding leaks is easier to do at nighttime when the system pressure is higher and the background noise is at a minimum. In this case, these were listening during the day. So we had worst case scenarios and everything. Daytime deployment, and also materials that weren't the greatest. And still we're getting 100% correlations from many different loggers telling us where the leak was. Now, you do have the option, instead of drawing in your pipes, ZoneScanNet offers the ability to upload and insert your GIS system. So this is a fantastic option for customers that have a GIS system. Simply your KML file will get uploaded in layers. And now when you upload your data from your tablet to ZoneScanNet, ZoneScanNet knows exactly what your pipes and where your valves are and all that information in GIS. And there's no more drawing in pipes and changing the material and diameter and things like that. It's going to automatically be there for you. All of that work we just did here drawing in the pipes would be eliminated, and you would see the blister spots immediately. Come in here to the street view. As you can see, right here's our leak. Pretty neat stuff. Now, you know, of course, we printed out a report. We went out in the field. We double checked the leak was there. Surely enough, the leak was there. We found it. We fixed it. We repaired that leak, and we're moving on. But what you can do now, and this is a very, very great tool to have to document your leak detection efforts, is now you can come back into your ZoneScanNet. Now that you actually confirmed it's a leak and repaired it, you can come back in here again and print this report out again with comments. Okay, so I can come in here to comments and say, hey, this was a service line. Actually, I'll change that because it was a main line. It was a main break, 2-inch PVC. Okay. You can put whatever you want to put in there about documenting your leak, repair clamps used, maybe some things you've noticed, whatever you want to put in there, you can put in there, hit apply. And now when you come back in here, right click, print report, open it up, and now you're going to see that information in your comments main break. So now you can actually print this out and save it to a PDF file, and save that PDF file in your computer under a folder of 2020 leaks. And now you have a nice little library of reports of leaks you fixed throughout the year, which is great to show, show your coworkers and all your colleagues some of the findings you have found over the year, but also to help you manage your system a little bit better. You can break out your folders as far as showing service line breaks, customer side, or if it's a main break, types of material, different zones of your system. Sky's the limit with however you would want to manage that. But just to kind of give you my opinion on how I would handle something like that, I think that's a great tool to have, to be able to save these documents and use them for the future. All right, so let's go back to our main screen. And basically that's it. I mean, this is I always tell folks when we're doing demos and showing ZoneScanNet is I like to show everybody all the little bells and whistles of the system, how you can see the data on each particular logger. But really, the thing you want to do is come into correlations and see if you have a leak. Let the system do the work for you. It's fantastic. The correlation feature on ZoneScan.net is just fantastic stuff. And that's pretty much it. It's very user friendly. One thing I do want to add to this is the website ZoneScan.net. When you log into it, Guterman and Exeter Supply have the ability to log in and actually see the same thing you're seeing on your end. So if you're looking at something you're not sure, or if you just want to double check, feel free to give us a call. I log in, I'm looking at what you're looking at, and I can help guide you through, maybe redeploying them in a different way, or whatever the case may be. But we can help that way, and that's a very, very nice feature as well. So that's pretty much it. That's ZoneScanNet. Again, any questions, just feel free to reach out to us directly. You'll see at the end of the video, we'll have our contact information there. So thanks again for your time, and have a wonderful day.